Welcome to Async. I'm Sadia. Joshua, I loved your episode. I love that you're sitting outside. It's nice to see you outside. And so I'm going to try the same static image thing with my watch to start and stop it and see how that goes. You mentioned, well, your main question to me, and it's one I've tried to answer a few times, but I don't think I've quite got really the thrust of it, was how do you find motivation to work on side projects? Okay, so that's something that I have talked about, but then how do you find the motivation when you don't just have that fire, when you don't have that like excitement? Well, there's the desire maybe, but there's no energy, there's no motivation. So where does that come from for me? No idea. I have absolutely no clue. um, I think a lot of times I draw energy from the idea itself, from the potential of it. I see an idea and I go, oh, that could be huge. It always helps for me also if there are other people who believe in the idea as much as I do. Um, that gives me a lot of energy, but I think also I can just get there on my own, sort of self um, propel this motivation. Uh, for example, actually, like my Amber Hour app at the moment, it's struggling to find adoption, and there's I don't know. I'm not loving working on it. I'm having a really hard time finding the motivation to work on it because it doesn't seem like the potential is as high as it maybe was when I was working on it at the outset. So one strategy that I'm trying to maybe give myself some more motivation to work on Amber Hour and maybe other apps that you know um, I'm not quite as like energized around is I'm setting aside a whole week. I'm going to take a week off and set that whole week aside just to work on that one thing. I know it's hard when you have a full-time job to be able to work for a whole week on one thing, but maybe you need to use your annual leave or something. I don't know. Maybe fake a little COVID. And then I'll probably use the first of those 5 days to psych myself into it. And I reckon that that'll be just enough to like get the ball rolling, a bit of momentum, and we can spend the other 4 days working on it. And maybe that push, that week long push, is big enough to make me feel like, oh yeah, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Like we're gaining traction. This is worthwhile. I think it's often just getting started, and then you leave it sit for a little bit, and that ball comes to a rest, and then you got to get it heaved forward again, and that's the hard part. Um, yeah. So maybe that week worth of work on it will give me the motivation to continue over the following weeks, or maybe I just need to set aside a week every so often to work on it. The other thing is, maybe it's not energy, maybe it's not like this motivation that we're really talking about. I wonder if actually, we say, oh, I get home from work at the end of the day. You said, I design all day and I come home and I don't want to design anymore. And I definitely feel that same thing with programming. Um, I wonder if maybe it's more about context switching, and I think that context switching gets harder the further into the day you are. So maybe it's more like, I just got home. I just don't have the ability to context switch. I don't have the spoons. Um, and yeah, sorry, it started raining, so I thought I'd bring myself inside. So the topic I wanted to bring up this week was about naming things, which is really, really hard. I have a friend who I've worked with on projects in the past, Rob, and he's just got a natural talent for coming up with great names for things. And it's not something I'm so good at necessarily. So when I was reading Daring Fireball this week, and I've been thinking, I spent literally a whole day one week just trying to ideate on names, and I got nowhere at all. So I was reading Daring Fireball, and this new app came up, and it was called Croissant. It's like for posting to Mastodon and X and other text-based. social networks. Croissant has nothing to do, but it made me realize that these are the types of names that are like, they're like, typically they are 2 syllables, one word, sometimes 3 syllables, and oftentimes they will have an emoji that is associated with them, which is kind of cool. So think like croissant, think ivory, think bento, ferrite. These are really, really simple app names, and I got on this train of app names, and I think I came up with a name for my podcasting app. But I'm too nervous to tell anyone because I'm scared that someone's going to go, "Oh no, there's a problem with that," or "I don't like it," or "I don't think it's any good," and they don't appreciate that I've spent so long. I like it. It is kind of related in a way to what I'm doing, as a metaphor, and um, it sort of is personally applicable. So anyway, I think I'm going to run with it. I renamed my project from its temporary name in Xcode to this new one, and we'll see how it feels over the next few weeks. But yeah, I'm so nervous to to reveal this name to anyone. It's like naming a baby. Maybe I need to release it and tell people this is what it's called, and then it's too late for them to say, "Oh, I don't like the name." See what people think.